In the small town of Oak Ridge, nestled in the rolling hills of a quiet American county, lived a boy named Nathan Miller. Nathan was 12 years old, with sandy brown hair, freckled cheeks, and a curiosity that often got him into trouble. He lived with his parents and younger sister, Lily, in a modest house at the end of Maple Street. His father, Robert, worked as a mechanic, and his mother, Grace, was a schoolteacher. Life was simple, predictable, and safe, but Nathan often felt like he didn't measure up. From a young age, Nathan had noticed how people around him seemed to excel at different things. His best friend, Tyler, could run faster than anyone in school and had already won a few local track medals. His neighbor, Emma, was a brilliant artist, filling her sketchbooks with incredible drawings that seemed to capture the soul of anyone she painted. Even Nathan's younger sister, Lily, could memorize entire poems after hearing them only once. Nathan, by contrast, struggled with almost everything. His grades were average, he wasn't particularly fast or coordinated, and he didn't have a single talent that made him stand out. He watched other kids with admiration and envy, feeling small and insignificant in comparison. "Why can't I be good at anything?" he asked his mother one evening as she tucked him into bed. Grace kissed his forehead gently. "Nathan," she said softly, "you're special in your own way. You just haven't discovered it yet." Nathan nodded, but deep down, he couldn't help feeling left behind. School was the hardest part. Nathan often compared himself to classmates, especially during science and math lessons, where questions seemed to come easily to others. When Tyler won first place in the annual school race, Nathan forced a smile, but inside he felt a sharp sting of jealousy. During art class, when Emma's painting was displayed on the wall, Nathan's own effort seemed dull and lifeless. One Saturday morning, feeling frustrated, Nathan decided to take a walk through Oak Ridge's small park. The autumn leaves crunched under his sneakers, and the crisp air filled his lungs. He sat on a worn wooden bench and watched the world around him. Children played on the swings, a group of seniors practiced Tai Chi, and a man walked his dog along the path. Nathan felt the familiar pang of inadequacy rising inside him. As he sat lost in thought, an elderly man approached and sat on the bench next to him. He wore a worn brown jacket and carried a small leather satchel. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" the man said kindly. Nathan nodded. The man looked at him curiously. "You seem troubled, son. Mind sharing?" Nathan hesitated but found himself opening up. He told the man about school, about feeling like he could never be as good as Tyler or Emma or even Lily. The man listened patiently, nodding. When Nathan finished, the man smiled gently. "You know, when I was your age, I thought the same way," he said. "I compared myself to everyone around me and felt like I was falling short. Then one day, I realized that comparing myself to others only made me unhappy. Everyone has their own journey, and yours is just as important as anyone else's." Nathan looked at the man, intrigued. "But how do I know what I'm good at?" he asked. The man chuckled. "By trying things, making mistakes, and paying attention to what makes you happy. You'll never find your strengths by looking at someone else's. You have to find them in yourself." Nathan left the park that day feeling thoughtful. He decided to try something new. Instead of focusing on what others could do, he would explore his own interests. He signed up for the school's weekly nature club, where students learned about plants, animals, and the environment. On his first day, he felt awkward and unsure, but he stuck with it. Over time, he discovered he had a knack for observing wildlife. He could notice small details that others overlooked, the pattern of a bird's feathers, the tracks of animals in the mud, or the way certain plants grew in clusters. Nathan's parents noticed the change. He was more enthusiastic, curious, and confident. At dinner, he shared stories about the animals he had seen, the insects he had studied, and the plants he had identified. Robert smiled. "You're really passionate about this, Nathan." "That's wonderful." Grace nodded, proud of her son's new focus. Nathan still saw Tyler running fast in races, Emma creating beautiful artwork, and Lily memorizing poems effortlessly, but he no longer felt inadequate. He understood that their skills were theirs, and his were his. Instead of jealousy, he felt admiration and inspiration. He even began keeping a small journal to record his observations and sketches of nature, slowly improving his skills and enjoying every moment of learning. One day, the school announced a science fair. Students were encouraged to present projects about anything that interested them. Nathan hesitated at first, unsure if he should participate. But then he remembered the words of the elderly man in the park, "You have to find your strengths in yourself." Nathan decided to create a project about local wildlife in Oak Ridge, documenting animal tracks, plant species, and seasonal changes. For weeks, Nathan worked tirelessly. He collected samples, made detailed sketches, and researched facts about the local ecosystem. His parents supported him, helping him gather materials and encouraging him along the way. When the science fair finally arrived, Nathan's project stood proudly on a table with labeled diagrams, sketches, and photographs. Visitors came by, impressed by his observations. Some asked questions about the animals, the plants, and the tracks he had documented. Nathan answered with confidence, explaining what he had learned. To his surprise, he won first place in his grade level. The recognition was wonderful, but more importantly, Nathan realized he had done something meaningful for himself. He hadn't compared himself to others, he had focused on what he loved and discovered his own talent. Over the next year, Nathan continued exploring his passion. He joined a local wildlife club, volunteered at a nature reserve, and started writing a blog about the plants and animals in Oak Ridge County. His confidence grew, and he developed a sense of purpose. He also shared his experiences with friends who were struggling with self-doubt, encouraging them to find their own strengths. By the time Nathan turned 14, he was known in Oak Ridge as the boy who knew the local wildlife intimately. Teachers invited him to speak about his observations, and friends began to appreciate his knowledge and enthusiasm. Nathan never stopped admiring Tyler, Emma, or Lily, but he no longer compared himself to them.